Good evening, everyone. My name is Joanna, and I would like to share about the prophetic vision of Daniel with seven heads. So, let's go to introduction. In introduction, this is about the vision of Daniel that in chapter 7, verse 1. We can read it in chapter 7, verse 1. The introduction. So, in introduction, Daniel had a vision that is about the four beasts, and in ancient days, a statement from Daniel that comes from God. So in chapter 7, there's a four kinds of beasts that are mentioned in the book of Daniel. So what is the four beasts? This is the four beasts is the survey of history that fits in the four world empires. So the four world empire is also mentioned there because it has a reflection and representation each of the beasts. So the four beasts uh first in the introduction of the vision in Daniel chapter 7 verse 1 in the first year of Belshazzar. So Belshazzar is Daniel had a vision after this king had reigned in Babylon. So King Belshazzar is the son of Nebuchadnezzar, and he was the first king of Babylon, representing the head in the which is the Babylonian Empire. And in Daniel chapter 7 verse 1 to 6 describing the life of prophet Daniel. This is about the life of Daniel, how about his life. And in verse 7, chapter 7 verse 12, this talks about the describing the vision of Daniel. This starts the introduction. So the letter B that Daniel had a dream in the vision. So in Daniel chapter 7 verse 12 is a very comprehensive vision. When we say comprehensive vision, it's like uh, a vision about the something that is not very like a real, or we can say that some other people think that it's very fictional story. So in but we have a Bible, so we also read it in here. Then verse 2 and 3, he focuses on the Great Sea. He talks about the uh, there's a there's a beast that comes up from the sea, the beast that rose up of the sea that has seven heads. And the seven heads of the beast from the sea are comprises the head of the bear, the lion, leopard, and the dreadful terrible beast. So if you'll notice that there are like a four world empire that is mentioned also in there. So we're going to talk about that. So he focused on the Great Sea, which is the we call the Mediterranean Sea. And the four winds and the four world empire. So four winds describing the sovereign power of God that this distributing men, which is there will be a war and a mess in this world. So in Psalms chapter 35 to 5, talking about the four winds, this is the proof that there's having a war. About the wind is God controls the sovereign power of God. God controls or the sovereign power of God. And in Psalms chapter 87 to 7 is also about the winds. Said that these verses are evidence that God has sovereignty or control. So now if we talk about the four beasts, we can read it in verse 4 to 6. 4, 6 or 3. It says number one is the lion with eagle wings, the first beast. So this represent in the statue is the Babylonian Empire, and in second beast is the bear, which is the Medo Persia, and the number three is the leopard, which is in four heads. So why it has on four heads? In leopard has a four heads. That's such a very rare, or it says that it's such a um unreality that leopard has a four heads, because in this time this is an empire of the Grecian Empire, Greco-Macedonian. So which is in the time of Alexander the Great, and when he died, he's ruling on that time, and he died, he had the four generals. So that's which is Ptolemy, Cassander, Seleucus, and Lysimachus. So these four generals, there remain a one head to correspond to the seven. So that's why there's a four generals, because that four generals representing the a leopard four heads. Now, the number four is the great and terrible beast. When we say the great and terrible beast, in the four world empire, now last empire is the Rome. The great and terrible beast is the Roman Empire, and 10 horns emerge from it. So it's like from these 10 horns, another small horn emerge. And in these 10 horns, this is what we talks about the 10 Western Europe nation, and the little horns is the spiritual beast. So, why we say that the little horn is a spiritual beast? Because it comes from the little Rome, political and spiritual. So this position of a person who holds both political and spiritual power. So it means like this is an essence of Pope or papacy. So in Revelation chapter 7 verse 10, it says here the seven kings and five are fallen. So in prophetic vision of Daniel with seven heads, we cannot even uh, not mention these seven kings and our five are fallen. So the seven kings and five are fallen. First, we can illustrate the four world empire, which is first Babylonian, second is Medo-Persian, Grecian, and the Rome, which represents the beast, the four beasts, which is the lion, bear, leopard, with four heads, and then also the great and terrible beast. So the four heads were taken from the head, and it says in the Bible that only one standing. During this time, this is the Greek. The Greek language prevailed, and the coming one is the 70th. So currently there are six, and the five fell and the one standing. Uh, and that the Greek language where the five and the fell and the one standing is the one in the giant's time. So the seven coming should last, but only for a brief period. It says in the Bible. In so who is that now? Who is the one that coming but should last, but only for a brief period? None other than one coming from the great and terrible beast, which represent as the Rome. So it is a Latin church. So it is a Latin church that changed form and became the Holy Roman Catholic Church. As I say, they both the last empire is the both of holding or ruling both. It says the position of a person that holds both political and spiritual. So become Latin Church before and then become the Holy Roman Empire. So RCC, it means an empire that became a church, and they are the Latin ones who hold political and spiritual power. But they are the same. So in verse 11, this is Rome and this is the 70th head. Rome's appearance was brief, starting from 64 BC to 475 AD. So it says the speak as a dragon. And the eighth in that verse, in verse 11, it says the eighth head. So this is just a change of forms. Not This is not the head, because it is also the 70th head that just come. So this is what they mention in Bible, the the 70th coming should last, but only for a brief period, and that is the Latin Church that become the Holy Roman Empire. So for last, uh, the best illustration in talking, if we talk about the prophetic vision of Daniel with seven heads, is coming from illustration of Herbert Armstrong. So that is the best prophetic beast illustration, because there's a many illustration in images illustration about the beast, the four beasts, and the seven heads that define very misinterpretation of many religions. So of course, there's a lot of message in this message, but I actually precise into the introduction. So that's all. Thank you very much.